Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to work on this carpenter's hatchet, and the back end's worn, so whoever had this actually used it as a carpenter's hatchet and not as anything else. And for those of you who think this is a roofing hatchet, I guess you could use it as a roofing hatchet, but I know these as carpenter's hatchet or plaster and lath hatchet. Back in the day, when I first got into construction work, I worked a little bit for a while with an old man who hung sheetrock, and he used one of these. And he would cut his sheetrock, snap it with this, and then he would hammer his nails in. Anyways, I'm not going to use it as a carpenter's hatchet. I am going to use it as probably a deconstruction hammer. I've got to build a x-ray room pretty quick, like in the next week. I got to start on it, and I'll probably use this just to bust out a bunch of old 5/8 fire rated sheetrock. I'm going to save the handle, and it doesn't have, or if there is a wedge in it, it's split, the wooden wedge, but there's no metal shim in it. So I think I can get this out. I'm going to trim this up just a little bit. I can't seat it too much further, but I think once I seat it and put the proper wedge in it, I think it'll work. The handle's got a couple of splits in it, but it's not bad. It's not, when you hit it, it doesn't vibrate through. So I think the only thing, if you look at it real closely, you see the splits in it and the cracks. One of the viewers, I'm not sure, Ivan Styles. I'll look back up, but I did one on a hammer hatchet not long ago, and I pinned it, and he came up with a good idea. What I should have done, when I pinned it with those nails, I should have came through with them and then cut them on both sides and made it as a decor. Plus it would hold it. There's not enough splits in it to where it's all the way through. Anyways, let's get this head off of it and then go from there. I'm gonna have to dig that wedge out. That's all there is to it, or what's left of it. All right, let me put it in the vise. I'll be back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there wasn't much of anything left of that wedge in there, and somebody had put a small galvanized nail thinking that would work. All right, what I'm gonna do here, my tools are missing. Hang on a minute. I'm missing my old box knife. I was gonna blame my wife, but I better be careful because I'm not sure it was her. I think maybe I misplaced it. Anyways, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna scrape this off with a razor blade and then go back over it with some 220 sandpaper. And then I'm gonna go ahead and drill some nail holes. Pre-drill some holes for my nails. See what that looks like. What the heck, it'll either work or it won't. What's weird is the grain's going this way, but I got a split right there. This wood's dry. It's probably been set in 20 years. Well, this came out of an estate sale and the gentleman passed away, and he'd been retired for over 20 years, so it's quite possible It's been sitting that long. All right, I'll show you what I got when I'm done. All right, I scraped it with the razor blade and then sanded it. I got this 180 sponge. I'm out of 220. So, handle looks actually pretty good. And I went ahead and cleaned up the end here a little bit. Shaped it just a little bit with the belt sander right there. And then now, let's go to the wire wheel, clean this up on the wire wheel. Now you can do this a couple of different ways. You can use Evaporust, Rust-Oleum, Rust Away. You can use vinegar. If you're going to use vinegar, use 6% and let it sit for 8 hours. And then rinse it with baking soda and water and let it sit for about 10-15 minutes in the baking soda and water. You can do that, or you can just wire wheel it. Just clean it with a wire. And I think I'm gonna blue this. Looks like it had black paint on it. Looks like that's black paint. I'm just gonna blue it. Bluing's simple, it's easy to do. I like the blue finish better than the paint, and that's what I'm gonna do. So let's get after it. Alright guys, cleaned it up, wire wheeled it. I want to show you something. I can tell this isn't very old, so I'd say it's mid-80s, around the 80s. If you look down inside there, you'll see injection plastic. And what they did is when they put this together, it had a gap, so they filled it. Also, I can tell the man that used this was right-handed. And the reason I know he was right-handed is because that's the way I was taught too. He started the nails with this side. See that's how you start the nail, and then you finish it this way. You start it on the flat, finish it. That's the way he did it on the open areas. Anyways, I can tell it was a sheetrock hammer. And also, it's not hardened very far. I don't know if you can see it, but there's just a small line of hardness. They didn't harden this very, and also if you look at the top of it, it's milled clean. This was done, there's some videos online of how they make hammers and axes, heads and stuff, and you can see the guy pull them out of a bin and he just runs them down a mill or a grinder or wheel, whatever, and he takes the finish off of it, or the mill marks, forge marks, I guess you want to say. But anyways, it was done, this was probably mid-80s. So I'm gonna clean it up. All right, let's clean this thing up. I'm gonna use some carburetor cleaner. You can use naphtha, about anything. I like carburetor cleaner because for me it evaporates almost instantly. Naphtha does the same. I thought about kind of polishing this end up a little bit, making it look, but you know what? It's just a good used tool. Nothing fancy. I'm gonna use it. I've got two at work now. This will make the third one. I'll stick one of the other ones. It's a junkier one up in the, I'll stick it in my secondary toolbox. If somebody wants to borrow one, I'll have it. got some new guys hired. Some of them don't have a lot of tools, so I'll let them use some of mine. What you want is a clean. See, that's what I started with. That's what I'm winding up with. Cleaner the better. It's almost nothing now. What I like about this bluing, it gives it protection, plus it looks good. I like it. And what I'm using is this stuff. Really simple to use. It's no big deal. You don't rinse. This is no rinse. And I apply it with a brush. You can apply it with a cotton swab, whatever. It's just, this is what I use. This is how I use it. Oops. Hang on a second. Oh, almost grabbed the wrong stuff. I'm rinsing off my brush. Probably going to wind up needing a new brush. And it darkens almost instantly. Look at that. Probably go ahead and do 2 coats. Right here, I think it's where my fingers were and it didn't take real well right there, but it'll take it on the second coat. I'm not worried about it. All right, you let it sit for 60 seconds and then you take a towel, dry towel, and wipe it dry. Don't let this sit for too long. If you let it sit for too long and that color dries and stays like that, it's hard to blend it. For you new guys, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Just wipe it off. It evaporates pretty quick. Now, look at the imperfection. Look how blotchy and ugly it looks. It's uneven. It doesn't look right. Take some steel wool. 4/0. This is 1/0. I like 4/0 better, but I'm out of it. That's the dry side, that's this side. Now it needs another coat. I can see where the color is uneven, but we'll do the other side. Fibers off the steel wool. I hate that stuff, but it's part of it, so you got to deal with it. All right. Now, I'm going to put another coat on. That's it. Simple to do. This is cold bluing. There's other types of bluing. It's kind of a blue color right now, but after I oil it, those of you who have watched my channel, I like 3-in-1 oil. See, it's not taken, part of it's not taken. Parts of it is, like this right here, it's taking it on the head there. It's taking it. In spots it didn't, but at spots I can see where it's blue. Like I said, you let it set for 60 seconds and then wipe it dry. Before I forget, I don't think I hit this very well the first time or the second time. I don't think I hit it at all. Alright, I got steel wool right here. I dropped my other one, so. down in there. I got a little, I can see a little bit of rust down in there. I think I got it pretty good. Fibers everywhere. All right, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna coat it with some oil, 3-in-1 oil, and then set it outside. It's still, I think tomorrow it's gonna be like 88 degrees, so it's gonna be a couple of warm days coming up. So I'm just gonna leave it outside in the heat and let it kind of bake. You see the color. Now, 3-in-1 oil is all I use. I use the red label. Actually darkens it. I don't know what it does, why it does it. Could not tell you, but it seems to make it darker. After it sits out in the sun, it's kind of like putting it in an oven. The hotter it is, it seems the faster it changes, I guess is the word I should say. Anyways, that's what I do. You could leave it blued like this without doing anything. I like the oil. It seems to work for me. So that's what I do. You could leave it blued and not do anything and just put it back on the handle and be good to go, I think. But I'm gonna set it outside. I probably ought to hang it. Yeah, I better hang it. I was gonna let it sit on the little homemade anvil I got out there, but I think I'll hang it from a hook. All right, ladies and gentlemen, see what it looks like tomorrow. Or, nah, probably 2 days. I think tomorrow I gotta work late. I gotta work a lot this week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got a lot of things going on here on the table, so bear with me. This has been sitting outside now for a week. I've had to work so much, it's not gonna rain, so I didn't bother taking it off. But it's black. It really, really turned out really well. I mean, that is black and black. Now, and there was just a touch of oil right on the end there, but that was it. Now I had it hanging here like this above the ground, and I guess what little oil was left was right here, but this thing is excellent condition now. But anyways, what I could not find any more small ribbed nails in town, and I'm not driving to the city or Lawton just to get a pack of nails. So I found these little finishing nails. A viewer gave me a good idea, and the wood is really turning out really good. The splitting, it's not gonna hurt anything. There's not much here that's really damaged now. But I'm gonna go ahead, he gave me an idea about driving these through and then leaving them in there and cutting them off and then make it look like a decoration. Anyways, that's what I'm gonna do. I have no idea if it's gonna look good, hurt the effect, the use of it. I really don't care because it's my hatchet. I mean, it's just a working tool. It's not gonna be, I'm probably gonna wind up using this at work. But I'm gonna drill out where I've got it marked. I got it marked about every inch. and it's not going to be perfect. I'm just doing this for the hell of it. I thought the nails would help keep the wood from splitting, but I think once I linseed oil it, it's going to fill in the groove. It's going to swell up good. But anyways, this is what I'm going to do. Just drill holes and then drive the nails through. Just like that. So I've got about 9 or 10 more to do, and then we'll see what we come up with. Come on. All right, guys, I'm gonna set the head. I got my shim cut. I went ahead and cut my slot a little deeper. I wanted to go a little further down. That might have been the problem to begin with. But I'm gonna set the head back on there. Now, I trimmed it up. I want it to set further. So you can, when you set a hammer or a hatchet or whatever, you can use whatever hammer you're comfortable with. I like this hammer. This is what I'm comfortable with. I've seen people use wooden hammers. I've got a leatherhead mallet. I've used different things. I come back to this one. This is what I like. This is how I do it. It's hitting hard. I can hear I'm deadheading. And you can see now I'm right at the end. I mean, I am just there. That's as far as I'm gonna go because I can tell it's hitting hard. Yeah. I can hear by the tone. Now, I'm gonna put my shim in there. Now, here's another thing on shims. I've people glue them in. I don't glue them in. If you want to glue yours in, that's fine. That's not a problem. But that's not the way I was taught, so I'm going by the old men I worked with, and they never told me anything, never gave me any bad advice, so, and I've never had a problem. The problem lies in most hammer heads and hatchet heads and axe heads is people don't keep the wood protected. They leave it dry, they let it shrink. Once moisture's gone out of it, it has play. If you keep linseed oil in it, and I highly recommend your birthday month, make sure linseed oil all your hammers and hatchets and axes. If you don't like doing that, well, weld a piece of steel to the head. That's what a man told me. He said, if you don't want to take care of your tools, then I've got a couple of shovels and rakes and things that I've welded conduit to the, just because it's outlasted all the jobs that I've done. It just works. Now, if you don't like doing that, well, then take care of your tools. Anyways, let's go over to the, here, let's just do this. Oh, and by the way, this is my homemade anvil. It's probably the best it is a great little tool. And all it is a piece of railroad track welded to a piece of 1/4 inch plate with a piece of 1/4 inch plate welded flat spot. So it gives me something to hit on. See how it's spread? Spread really good. I'm going to cut this off and then come back, put a swedge in it, a metal one. All right, now this wedge, it's really good. I put a little piece right there to fill that gap. I don't think I needed to, but I did it anyways. Now I think I'm gonna set it like this. I'm gonna, like that. Hang on, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Man, this wood's hard. There again, went off to one side again. Ladies and gentlemen, that is in there. All right, let's, I'm not even gonna sharpen this. It's pretty good just as it is. I'm gonna dull the heck out of it when I bust up the sheetrock anyway, so let me linseed oil this handle. Now, linseed oil it. Let it sit overnight. Like I said, I'll do this linseed oil I put on once a day for a week. Probably what I'll wind up doing is taking this to work, and then I'll linseed oil it while I'm at work. That way I don't forget it, because sometimes it's just so hard to get back out in the shop after I get home. I have to work too much anymore. I thought it'd slow down a little bit. Mother Nature's kicking my butt. this heat, I'd like it to cool and get a little more rain. All right, guys, now I'm just gonna let it, I oiled it, just gonna let it set and then see what it looks like tomorrow. It's dirty now. I've got fibers all over it. It's gonna look pretty good, I think, though. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been 2 days of linseed oil. I come out to the shop for a little bit tonight, but the rest of the week I'm gonna coat. Tonight I'll coat another, and then about 3 more days of linseed oil, and then I'll do it for a week. But it's swelling up. It's actually taken very well. And I originally thought I'd put these nails in there, and what I wanted was pole barn nails, rib nails, a smaller version, but I can't find any in town, so I just use these finishing nails in there, and I cut them off. It looks, I don't know, it looks kind of dorky. It's okay. It's got a long handle on this thing, 17 inches long from the head all the way down to the tip, so it's a long handle. I sharpened it with a file. I didn't do any better than that. And this is what I know as a carpenter's hatchet. Yes, I do know some people use these as roofing hatchets, but roofing hatchets normally have holes in them. They're not so you measure out your shingles. When I was younger, I did work for an old man or helped an old man. We did some shake shingles and shake siding, with wood siding shakes, and they're all different sizes and they're random pattern. But this is what he used to cut his shakes and to split his shakes. He just held his shakes up and then cut them down. And I do know plaster and lath guys and sheetrock guys would use these, put their sheetrock. They'd cut the sheetrock with this, they'd nail it in. I never did any of that. At the time I was too young really to understand what was going on. When I got around to hanging sheetrock, we did it with a hammer. And now I do it with a screw gun. But the handle, and it's dark. I don't know, even scraping it, when I scraped it with the razor blade, it still stayed dark. And now when I add the linseed oil, it's darkening even more. But it's got a really nice finish to it. It's like I said, the wood is swelling up. It's starting to get really, the grooves are starting to fill in. On the end, I can tell they're really, almost all the splits are gone on the end. But nice little hatchet. It's got a nice feel. The only thing I don't like is I like them with a little kick out at the end, curve out a little bit, but it's all preference. This is what you like. Yeah, I got little of nothing. I don't even remember what I got in this thing, but you guys know me. I don't buy anything. If it's over $5, it's too much for me normally. So this is a good use tool. I will take this to work. I've got to tear out some sheetrock. So between this and the other hammer, that's what I'm going to use it for. And I will show you under there, see the gap? There's a piece of wood. I drove it in from the other side and shimmed it in real good. I don't think I'll have a problem. So long as I keep it moistened with linseed oil, I don't think it'll be a big deal. If it is, well, then I'll buy another handle. I don't think I'll have a problem. It's not like I'm going to be using this thing every day. I'll probably use it 3 or 4 days this coming week, the following week, and like I said, what I'll be using this for is ripping sheetrock out with. I'll be ripping out. I've got to rip out, I got to make an X-ray room. I got to put up lead line sheetrock. So the old sheetrock's got to come down. I've got to redo the metal studs. But this is going to be a deconstruction hammer, or excuse me, hatchet. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me what you think. You like it? It's a long handle compared to the other hatchets that I got. This one, like I said, I think it'll have some heft when I swing it. It's really gonna be pretty good. And the nails, it looks kind of cool. I don't know. I shouldn't have done it, but I thought that since it was splitting, that the nails would hold it. But really and truly, the linseed oil, man, it's soaking it up. It's in there. I like what it's doing. Anyways, give me thumbs up, thumbs down, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me if you would have wasted your time. I mean, I ain't got nothing in it. Probably a few bucks. I don't even remember where I got it now. Doesn't matter. It cost me maybe an hour and 15 minutes of my time, and then, you know, a little bit of time to linseed oil it. And it's gonna help me in my job. So, all right, guys. Subscribe if you like. Y'all have a good day now. See ya.